All right, today we're here with the Bloom boys. We have Josh, Noah, and Caleb Bloom sharing a race car, the 37B. Boys, how you doing?
Good. How about
Good.
yourself?
How about yourself?
I think we broke Connor.
Them two lean in together like they're trying to kiss each other.
And it's hey now, here we go. These cars, they ain't nothing slow. Keep those pedals on the floor. Gotta make them wanna come back for more. Been here since the sun went down. White flag when we come back around. Worked all week, it's time to race. Gonna get a little bit sideways. Sideways.
All right, guys. Welcome on the show here. Josh, you want to get into a little bit of your background, how you got in?
Yeah. So, I'm 18. I was born in 2005. My dad was around it all his life, or all of us, ever since he was 20 or so. He got his first race car in 2007 when I was 2. So I've pretty much been around it all my life, basically. I briefly remember early in his career, he was always a front of the pack runner, but he never really capitalized on it, or never really had the equipment to capitalize on it. So when I was about 4, remember this later, we got his first win, and I just remember oh, this is really cool. I really want to do this, and what year was it? 2021. 2021, we had a bunch of friends get together, and we scrounged to get a car. We bought this car off Andy Frey, and it was a good car for a while, and then we saw some rough spots on it, so we got another car, and that one was pretty good for a while, and we found some rough spots in that. So, this year we finally got some good equipment under us with Kenny McLaughlin and Rebel Chassis, building us a car. So we're hoping that we have some pretty good luck this year and maybe find victory lane.
That'd be awesome. On to the next Bloom boy, Noah. You want to tell us how you, your background and everything?
Well, I was born in 2002. Was hanging around Dad in Trent, Ogden whenever he was still helping Trent, the old pro stock. I don't remember him getting Trent's first car. The first very fond memory I have is Dad driving it into the front stretch wall at Hummingbird. That was not a good night. And I believe it was 2009, Dad put the car in victory lane for the first time, and I remember running up the hill with the trophy, just screaming the entire time until we got back to our hill spot.
You fuckers took it from me, I'm just saying. I didn't get to hold the flag or take the trophy.
Well, I wasn't even looking at the camera when they took the photos, so that explains anything. And then started really getting into just cars in general. I'd even say before I started school, race cars are actually how I learned my numbers when I was in kindergarten. That goes to show how much I've loved this sport since I was little, and we got our first car in 2021 and we had a couple rough patches here and there between 21 and now. We've had a couple of decent runs. I feel like I've had not some of the greatest luck behind the wheel. I mean, I like to hit the wall, but I'm not going to get into that.
Not yet, at least.
I was going to say, we're definitely going to get into that later.
Yeah, God.
Caleb, you want to go ahead, introduce yourself?
I don't even know how to get into it. I'm Caleb.
And I don't know what to do with my hands.
Shake and bake.
I'm 24. Ended up getting into the sport pretty much my whole life. Dad, I remember taking us to Hidden Valley when it first opened up under the Laziers and everything. He's been around it since, I think he said around 96, 97, helping George Sankey. And once he had us 3, he ended up getting us into it, bringing us around more. I remember being in the shop with him and Trent all the time, working on Trent's car. Then, like they said, back around 2009, he got his first car off of Trent.
It was 07.
07.
07 with the green, not green. It was orange. Orange, red, black,
We ended up starting out up on the hill just watching Dad and all his buddies having a good time. And then once we started going around AMP, when it opened back up, I ended up going into the pits with Dad a lot, and he got me into learning more about the cars and everything. And then once we decided to get tired of Amp, we just moved on to Hummingbird, and that's been home ever since. About 2009, like they said, Dad picked up his first win, and Josh, being Josh, crying about not getting a trophy and everything.
I just wanted to participate.
Dad's had a lot of rough patches in his career and everything, being around the sport for so long. Noah, Josh, and Dad got a hold of me while I was out hanging out with friends and everything and said, hey, we're picking up a car, and would you want to get into it? And I was all for it. And once we started working on the car, we couldn't thank anybody enough how much help they gave us, anywhere from Tim Stice, Jimmy Challensworth, and his family, just giving us pieces to get our first car together. And we've had a couple good runs, and then a lot of bad luck coming from practice, and me not getting to run a car, and thanking Dustin for letting me take some laps in his after, Noah blew it up in the first session. But our first year, we couldn't ask for a better year. We had a couple bad nights, a lot of good nights, waking up the next morning with our stomachs hurting.
A lot of front bumpers we went through, too.
That's coming from the one who hit the tires the most.
Not wrong.
It's not hard. It's not hard to do.
Not hard at all.
I'm sure your dad has a couple bumpers up there. It's claimed a tire, too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Challensworth.
Yeah. It was a tire at first, then it was Jimmy. You got to remember that. So.
And then it was the backstretch wall.
Mhm.
So just to clarify to all of our listeners, you all three run the same car,
Yes.
Yes.
and that's the 37B.
Yes.
Pure stock.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So you guys pay a lot of homage to your dad, but aside from him, who's your racing idol? And we'll start left to right with Noah.
Josh.
Jesus Christ!
It happens all the
I have it written down.
So
Took the hoodies off.
when I was little, I was always a Tony Stewart fan. I loved basically how he didn't give a shit who he was racing, who he didn't care. He would race anybody the same as his basic quote was, "I would wreck my mother to win a championship." I don't know if I'd go that far with a dirt track championship, but I'd wreck my brothers for it. That's for sure. But no, the guy I look to now, and everybody's gonna say I jumped on the bandwagon, is a Kyle Larson. He's just, the stuff he does is insane. I've watched him since he was with Chip Ganassi Racing with the 42. He's just like every one of us. He had his struggles at the beginning of his career, and it's just he's gotten better equipment. He's gotten a lot of training. He's just gotten better. And everybody else says, "Oh, it's the money, it's the money," and I think anybody that watches him can see it's pure talent.
Money doesn't make you a better driver. It gives
no.
you better equipment, but
Yep.
doesn't make you a better driver.
That's for sure.
Agreed.
And 2021, I was burned, and this is why I'm such a big fan. I got burned, and my friends Mia and Tony went to Bristol, and it was covered in dirt, and they went up to Kyle and said, "Hey, there's this kid. He's from Pennsylvania. He was burned. He's in the hospital right now. Will you talk to him?" So it was pretty neat. I got a FaceTime call from Kyle Larson while we were working on our race car in the driveway. And I didn't know what to say. I was just speechless. He basically just said, "Hope you're doing well." And I got a signed T-shirt out of it, and a pretty cool memory. So.
That's awesome. Noah?
As far as like racing idols go, I'd have to say Trent Ogden, because Trent and I have always gotten along. I mean, him and I fuck with each other now and again whenever we see each other. But I remember vividly being in the garage with him and Dad, and him scaring the shit out of me whenever they started the car up at some point. That happened a lot when I was little. Could probably say the same with any of the three of us.
Caleb?
Just as far as local dirt cars, I remember growing up, Dad made us custom ornaments and everything. Josh, for local driver, was, of course, Fuzzy Fields. He just fell in love watching Fuzzy race. Noah was Dad, of course. He loved to suck up to Dad. When it came time to being in the garage, he was always there.
You just sucked up the mommy, didn't you?
Oh boy.
Oh, boy. Brotherly love.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And I remember growing up, just watching Denny Fenton race with Dad in his first couple years. I just loved watching Denny. His family was always really good to us. Even now, Scott and Dylan, couldn't thank them enough for the sponsorship. But as far as probably professionally, I'd probably have to go with either Dale Earnhardt Jr. or Kevin Harvick. Those were two of my favorites growing up, and maybe even Bobby Labonte. I remember Chucky Records picking on me when his wife, Shorty, at the time, used to babysit us. They would just call him Bobby Labonte, and me being a young kid, I'd get mad and pissed off at him and just yell. But just the way they drove and how clean they raced, and they just would give people the same treatment they gave you on the track. If you bumped them, they'd bump you back, and then they'd let you know their displeasement after the race.
How would you guys describe your driving styles? And also, how would you describe your brother's driving styles?
So I'm kind of a little bit everywhere. I want to say, like, I listen to a lot of people. I listen to my dad a lot, but I try and listen to everybody and just take in what they're trying to say, because we've been in a car for 3 years, but whether we like it or not, we probably have a season and a half under our belts from rotating and doing this. So I would say I'm more of a learner, and I try new things out. I'm like bottom the middle is what I like, just because that seems like where there's the most grip and I can get the car the straightest. Noah's kind of a wild man, if you will. He's the Fuzzy Fields of our crew, I want to say, because he's just balls to the wall. I don't care if I hit the wall at all. He just wants to go fast.
I don't have the wins to back that up either, if that says anything.
But that's what makes him a really good driver sometimes. That's what makes him a really bad driver sometimes, because sometimes on a hammer down track, that's what you got to do. You got to get up on the wheel and just go for it. And just drive the car. Yeah, and Caleb is a very smooth, very patient driver. Sometimes I think he's too patient, because I just think he's too nice to people. Sometimes if a guy's chopping you off every other corner, sometimes you just got to give him the boot and not spin him out, but but I'd say just let him know you're there, and maybe he won't come down on you. And
Okay, turn him into a door. Go through him.
8
From
wheels turn better than
experience.
4.
But yeah, so I'd say if you watch us a lot, three of us are alike, because I feel like we're all three pretty smooth when we want to be, but all of us drive different at the end of the day, though. So
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to go a little bit along the lines with Josh and my driving style. I'm kind of a hammerhead. I don't like to listen sometimes. Dad will give me an input on something to do on the track, and sometimes it stays in my head, and other times it goes in one ear and goes out the other one.
Gets lost in the helmet cushion.
Oh, yeah. Josh, he's smooth and calculated, like with restarts and whatnot. Sometimes he does that too much, in my eyes.
ask Noah's buddy Raven about that one time. I tore the nose off our car a little bit.
That's another story for later. Caleb, him and Josh are smooth, calculated, or sometimes we've all agreed at some point. Caleb's sometimes slow. I remember one time during our first year, Dad yelled at him and asked him if he figured out where the fucking gas pedal was at some point.
Maybe you should ask Connor that one time or two. Or I think he might use it too much. That's why he spins out so much.
Me.
That's also why he backed it into the fence at Hidden Valley.
You know what? I've backed into the fence at Hidden Valley twice.
Caleb didn't even back it in. He drove the whole damn car up on the wall one time.
The problem was I was listening to too many people
Yeah.
telling me too many
Yep.
things, and eventually I just did what Connor wanted to do with the car,
Yep.
and it worked.
At the end of the day, you're the man behind the wheel. I think that's one thing all three of us have to get in our minds, is that nobody else can make that decision other than you. So
Caleb?
I'd say, like the other two said, with Josh, he's smooth at points, and sometimes he just gets a little overly aggressive with his driving, and he just gets pissed off. I remember one time, just in the last season, Dad tried talking to him, and he would not take any advice from him. And then Noah, being a wild child, he's grown up watching Fuzzy just wheel the shit out of a car, and sometimes he just overdrives it and ends up getting into other cars, backing it in the 3 and 4 wall.
It happens to the best of everybody. I mean,
I would agree with them. Like, with me, I'm a little cautious with driving, I want to say. But the last race of the season, Dad and Josh did some changes to the car, and they just came up to me. Didn't tell me what they did. They're like, we just did some changes to the car. We just want you to go out and drive it. And sometimes I'm aggressive. Sometimes I just want to be patient and I'm a little overly patient with some people.
So you break less shit.
I don't want to say I break less shit.
Absolutely.
Josh
Yes.
breaks the most shit.
Bumpers.
Josh
Yeah.
is more
Motors.
bumpers.
Noah's the motor.
Noah's the motor, and I remember practice.
You know what? That all checks out.
And I remember from practice, our second year, we had a transmission from Tim Stice, and I came around 3 and 4, and it just something went wrong, and I heard a bang. Dad's out there screaming, "Start the damn thing up!" We get it hauled in, look underneath, and it just shredded the hell out of the transmission case, cracked everything.
So we know that you all three drive the car. What is your biggest obstacle besides not having enough seat time? When you get in that car, what do you fight amongst another?
So, Dad tells us not to do this, and sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I feel like the biggest obstacle for all three of us, because Noah never played sports, but I know he's a very competitive person. We constantly try and over exceed each other's expectations. Like, one of us had, say, a 5th place finish. I need to get a 5th or better that day, or this or that. And I feel like sometimes it's just we try and beat each other too much, then beat ourselves from the last time we drove. And sometimes I feel like everybody has to take that into effect, that you have to beat yourself. Then you have to beat yourself from the last time you drove. You got to do things better. You got to hit your line better. You just got to be calmer, be smoother, or heck, be faster and be stupider. Sometimes that's the better option to do. But like I said, we just try and beat each other rather than beat ourselves from the last time you drove.
I'm gonna side with Josh a little bit on this. We all try to beat each other. Like, if one finishes better than you did the last week, you automatically think, "Oh, I got to get this place or better this week," and then for the most part, that ends up biting you in the ass half the time because you drive in over your head and you end up with broke shit.
Yeah, and that really gets to you because I've watched you guys race. The car is definitely competitive, So go ahead, Caleb.
I'd say about over competitiveness. Me and Josh, growing up, we played sports all our life. Noah, he saw us being over competitive with each other, and that's our main obstacle with that. It's either that or Noah mainly, the rookie class we grew up with, he wants to be consistently better. He wants to beat this person, beat that person. Me and Josh, on the other hand, it would probably come down to our football mentality coming out, just wanting to beat anybody, even beating our brothers in a position battle. And I remember at the beginning of this, Mom said, if it gets too over competitive and you guys start fighting, the car is going to be parked. And that's it.
That's why you don't tell Mom.
Never tell Mom.
No. She only sees what she hears.
Trust me, Mom sees a lot more than she hears, dude. I've been around 24 years and I've seen it enough.
Well, pulling out the age card here.
You're fucking old.
What do you guys see your future as racing? I know, Noah, you started racing 4-wheeler.
You're
Josh seems
still
committed.
racing 4-wheeler, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So me and Dad had this conversation the other day. We can't share a car for forever. There's some people at the track that are already bitching and moaning about 3 drivers in a car and about how it's unfair to everybody else, which I still don't understand that. But
I'm sure that they can't make it any easier at all.
I don't see how it's a problem. We make the track more money because it's 2 more pit passes in the pits every week.
Oh, I know a track I would like that. That's for next week's episode.
But we can't share a car for forever, and I love the pure stock class. I think it's gonna continue to grow. So I would like to get my own or even an E-mod, because I feel like an E-mod class is gonna grow too. But I feel like my future in dirt racing is just to continue having fun with my brothers and my family every week.
Right.
As for me, my future plans, I'd love to be in a small block modified, but with how some stuff's going on nowadays, I'm starting to get into a little bit of the woods racing. that season just finished. I ended up second in points in that in my class. And because of where I'm employed at, I'm possibly thinking of getting into doing some autocross stuff too. I mean, that might be sacrilege because it's asphalt, but it's something cool that I would like to eventually get into, but it might be 5, hell, even 10 years down the road before that even happens.
My future, I'd love to stay in the street stock, street stock, like Dad. He's been in that class for years. But the pure stock class, I would love to stay in it and help the new drivers coming up into it. Like Dominic Macchiori came in with us this year. It was his rookie year. We helped out as much as possible, trying to get him to calm down out of his go-kart mentality. But my future, I would love to stay around pure stock, street stock. Everybody's dream is to become a big-time late model driver, like the Lucas Oil or the World Outlaws. But my future just consists on staying around the local dirt racing. I would love to go higher, but I think this is where my heart's at, is local dirt racing at.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that. We'll start again with you, Josh. What is your dream class? If you could drive any car out there, dirt, whatever, what would it be? What class you running?
So I really like to watch the what is it, the Superstar modified series. I can't remember, like the SSTS series or something like that.
Is it the Dirt Track Super Series?
Yes, that. You know, those things are just badass. I'm just gonna be quite honest. The big side panels, they're just sweet, and that's what Dad grew up doing with Sankey, and it's really neat. So I'd love to drive one of those, or even I'm a big Hudson O'Neal fan. I know not a lot of people are fans of him either, but I love late models. I've loved late models since we were little, and either one of those two classes is my dream class, just because if you are there racing with your idols, you're going to learn something.
Mine would have to be, it don't matter what series of them, the UMP mods, because I just think there's something cool with trying to hook something up with 700 horsepower on 8-inch tires. And seeing what the E-mod class is around here, I feel like if they would possibly change the rule package up a little bit, it'd be cool to see them running around Humminbird more than once, maybe twice a year when the Renegades come. Are the Renegades UMP mods?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be my choice. I mean, a friend of mine had an E-mod at one point before he got rid of it for a late model, of all things, that I was going to end up getting to drive, but he ended up buying a semi-late. I don't know why he'd go to that class.
Ouch.
Loser!
There's so many classes going around anymore with the professional series that you see on Flow. One that you don't see around Central PA. Honestly, I think a sprint car. Don't matter. 410, 305, 360. I would love to be in a sprint car. Just the fact it being lightweight, badass horsepower. Or even maybe the late models. I would love to be in one of those. Any car, really. I don't have a specific series I would love to be in.
Just get in and drive.
Just get in and try it out. I remember one time, though, back at AMP, Jimmer Ziegler had his 305 there. And he told Dad the one night, he goes, "I'll let you hot lap this thing if you get your fat ass down in the car," was his exact words. And he was damn near close. He just needed to get that steering wheel on the hub. And Jimmer, being Jimmer, he's in the trailer just saying, "Get the shoehorn out. Get his ass out of the car if he can't get the fucking wheel on."
All right, keeping it on Dream Street, what would be a track you guys would like to make a trip to, regardless of class, regardless of car, money not an option? What track across the U.S.?
I'm gonna go with two here because I can't pick one. The one is, it's coming up. It's Dirt in December with the Gateway Dirt Nationals. I feel like that thing, it's a track built in 2 weeks or something, and it's rutted up, it's rough, it's elbows up, but it's just a plain old badass track in a football stadium. So the atmosphere of that, I feel like, is awesome because you can pretty much see anything that's going on other than the pits, which honestly that's probably one of the most exciting parts, is the pits. So you can walk out of the stadium and go see it. and I feel like a lot of people's dream tracks outside is Eldora. Eldora is just sweet. It can either get slick, slide or die track, or elbows up one lane, and I think elbows up's the best because one person makes a mistake, you're gonna see carnage. So
I feel like mine, if they'd ever do it again, would probably have to be whenever they put dirt on Bristol. Just with the banking that track has, I feel like it would just be badass to put the right rear on the cushion and just hammer down all the way around, as long as you don't put it in the wall like I have a tendency to do.
on more than one occasion.
We're not going to talk about that.
If I had to go with, I'm gonna go with two. One being asphalt, one being dirt. I had to pick one. I'd probably say Port Royal. I've had a bunch of people go down and say just how badass the atmosphere is and how good the track is. I've never seen any big complaints about Port Royal track surface or the atmosphere. And if I had to pick an asphalt, it'd probably be the king of all asphalt, Daytona, the Daytona 500. Just seeing cars do 200 mile an hour around that place is just badass. Just the fast times and everything. Just the NASCAR atmosphere would be awesome to go to.
So we heard a little bit from Noah early on. Who is your real inspiration? Noah, you said about Trent and hanging out with him, that crazy guy. I mean, he's something else.
Yeah, he's gonna need a bigger helmet after this episode.
And I'm sure your dad's going to be in there, as well as my dad was, a huge part in my racing.
Absolutely.
But you always have your other favorite, I should say.
Yeah.
Who else gave you that inspiration? You always sought out in the pits or went to or something like that.
When I was a kid, like Caleb said earlier, I was always a big Fuzzy Fields fan. I loved them. I had a Christmas ornament of them on our Christmas tree, and I think we still hang it up. And that's when I was little, but I'm still a huge fan of them to this day. But a local guy that has just gotten exceptionally well and has been doing well is, I would say, Paul Cott. Paul's he's a great dude. We park beside him. We both run American Racers, which are getting back on the market. I'm just saying.
Not a sponsor.
Elias Tire, Indiana, PA. Just saying. He's so smooth, and anywhere he goes at Hummingbird Speedway, he'll go to the front. I've seen him destroy infield tires and still drive past people like they're sitting still. I've seen him jump to the top with this new chassis he got a couple years ago and send it right to the front. And he's just the way he drives and the way he carries himself is just, that's who a kid that's walking around the stands wants to be. And like you said, Justin, my dad's always in there, but if I had to choose somebody who's not family and not basically family, I would have to choose Paul Cott.
Mine would be one of the people that helped us out the most when it came to getting our pure stock together. It'd have to be Jimmy Challensworth. He helped us with engine pieces, putting an engine together for us, multiple engines, I should say. He's also helped us a lot, a little bit off topic, on topic, is he's helped us out a lot with four-wheeler stuff, putting machines together for me and Josh, helping us out with that.
Like you said, Justin, Dad being our main inspiration, getting into racing, giving us the opportunity to be around the environment. And then growing up, I was a big Denny Fenton fan. He was a down-to-earth guy. He was always willing to go out of his way to come over to our family and talk to us. Now, me being grown up, if I had to pick one, I didn't really know much of him until we started getting around pure stocks and he started getting Dad to letter his car. It's probably Tim and Jimmy. Like, they gave us the most help we could ask for getting the car set up. And Tim, he's just a wheelman. He just, anywhere he goes, he can drive straight to the front. And if he doesn't, in his typical fashion, I love him to death, but he just loves to bitch.
because of that cheating motor he has in from
Damn right, it's a
John
$30,000 roller street stock, pure stock, whatever.
It's-
They're almost the same damn thing now. Then Jimmy, he's just a down to earth guy. You could walk up to him and just know he's intelligent with a lot of his stuff. 4-wheelers, race cars, motors. He's just one intelligent guy. And you couldn't ask for a nicer guy to go over and talk to and just bullshit with.
Yeah.
So we talk a lot about on the track stuff. What's your favorite part of the race weekend off the track?
I would say like on the way to the track, like when we drive separate sometimes we ride together, and sometimes the ride to the track is just the best because you're getting all antsy, you're getting to drive the race car, you're getting to work on a race car, and there's just a bunch of bullshit flying through the air of, we're going to say, oh, this guy's going to wreck it, or oh, this guy's going to wreck it, or, or truthfully, I would just say anything that has to do with working on the race car or going to the racetrack is the best part, just because it's what you do, it's what we know, it's just fun.
Mine's got to be the giant bullshit sessions that happen before the races start and have to be the ones that happen after the races, which most of them will end up going, the races will get done, I don't know, 11:30, 12 o'clock at night, and then you'll end up standing in the pits, drinking, bullshitting until 1 o'clock in the morning. Don't get home until 2 a.m.
Oh, Justin and I are usually the last people to leave. It's not
We
even
are too,
close.
don't feel bad.
I've watched the sun come up.
Like Josh said, the ride on the way to the racetrack, me living at home with my girlfriend and everything, I don't get to be up there all the time. So once we get to ride with each other, just the shit stirring and the antsiness of the ride to the track is one of probably my favorite ones. And after the races, like Noah said, the giant bullshit session afterwards. As long as you had a good night and you're not pissed off, it's a good night regardless. As long as these two are having fun and Dad's having fun, I'm having fun with it.
So I'll combat that question with, what do you dislike about the race car? What is your
Race car or race weekend?
race weekend?
A lot of the worst parts is, you're getting ready, you're getting the car loaded, the car's all loaded, you're getting ready to leave, and pours down rain. I think
That's sacrilege.
FRC.
FRC.
Fucking rain clouds.
That's gonna stand. Just saying.
Hell
But
yeah.
during the races, I would say when they're not canceled, the worst part is sometimes when you just have bad luck. I know it's part of it, but the shit sucks. And especially small stuff like electrical gremlins or stuff that you can control.
We are taking Snapchats and sending them to Gary Little, and Josh can't keep a straight face.
Just the little gremlins that you can control from work you do throughout the week. It's the worst part because it can be stopped. You can stop parts from breaking if you take them off and clean them, or take them off and grease them, or this or that. But sometimes you get caught up in life, and sometimes you just can't. And the worst part's when something you can't control goes wrong.
I'm gonna agree with Josh on that because we've had several nights where stuff that could have been avoided has went wrong, and we've
3
ended
and
up
4
with
wall.
3 and 4 wall. Yes, Josh. Stuff that could have been avoided ended up turning into a giant problem, and then you're spending an hour or so down in the pits trying to get the car back
Beating and
together for the
banging, yeah.
feature, beating body panels out, trying to find parts, put the car back together so you can just make it out on the track for the night.
There's no other way to really explain it. The other two pretty much hit the nail on the head with it. It's just a little gremlin shit that goes on throughout the week. You get hit with life and you can't get into the garage, and you just miss simple shit in the garage. And it ends up going from a lug nut to just a simple bolt, even just a electrical shit. And then on the racetrack, probably just dealing with stupid drivers who can't keep a straight line. There's been plenty,
And
but
I think we all can attest we have been one at one
yeah,
time.
we've been.
We
Yeah.
all have
we-
been one at one time.
Everybody's been
It-
one.
It's funny how when the tables turn, how easy it is to be the mad one.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
remind yourself, like,
We were that guy. at one
holy
time.
shit, that was.
Yeah, and it was us. What, 2 years ago?
Truthfully, it's still quite possibly is us.
Yeah,
But because we're in there every third week, and sometimes you can't control what you do when you don't get seat time. So
Yeah, that's like Josh said. That's the issue with rotating every third week. You learn something one week, and you're like, I need to do that, and do it again. But being in every 3 weeks, you remember some things, then you forget some things. That's probably my top tier thing off the track, is just rotating every third week and forgetting certain things.
So one of the reasons I started the podcast was kind of to introduce the public to drivers. When I started watching dirt racing, I didn't know who anybody was. I just like watching carnage and things go fast. What's something that you guys, as probably some of the younger guys in the sport, think can be done to kind of help influence crowds and influence butts and seats and whatnot?
So one thing I would say is I know we're young and, we're the youth of this generation. I think that's the biggest thing is just keeping the youth involved, whether it's taking the race cars to a school or taking them to a car show and seeing one little kid's face, light up with a smile just because, oh, that's a race car. I think the big thing is just keeping people involved, keeping the younger kids involved. I think that's the big thing. And then another thing is just don't be an asshole when there's kids around, because I feel like that puts a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth, that they see one bad guy and it ruins the sport for.
Oh, and as especially when I know I've given tickets away to families like State College and stuff who don't really understand what's over on this side of the mountain, and you get those people coming over, and then you see some belligerency, and they're probably not going to come back because they don't want their kids to see that. And you turn the tables, and sometimes they're going to see a great show, and they're going to tell their friends about it. So yeah, I definitely think the way we carry ourselves is pretty important.
I think another thing is, I know you guys love Hidden Valley, and a lot of people love Hidden Valley, but that's why we love Hummingbird, is because they try and keep the youth involved. They have a kids club that some local wives do. It keeps the little kids, that are 3 and 4 running around playing with cars in the dirt. It keeps them involved. It keeps them getting to know some of the drivers, and it honestly makes us as drivers want to do better for them because we just know how much they're looking up to us. So.
Right. Shout out Peach.
This is my opinion, but it's like, keep all your unnecessary, stupid bullshit to yourself. Like, if you had a bad night, don't go around fucking bitching and moaning to everybody about, oh, this happened, blah, 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 I'm never coming back. It's like, also, and this is probably one of the biggest reasons that people aren't coming to the dirt tracks, is keep it off social media, because people see that type of shit and are like, oh, them people are dirty, nasty, they're assholes, we don't want to give them our money, pretty much. So it's like, just keep all your drama basically to yourself. I mean, you're going to have disagreements with people in the pits, and people are going to see it. You're never going to be able to get around that.
Man up and keep it face to face.
Keep it face to face. Be respectful about it. Don't go over to a dude bitching and screaming about something stupid that happened on the track.
Trying to fight 15-year-olds. That's for next week.
Stay tuned.
Like Josh said, you got to keep the younger generation around it. The ones that have been around it, or ones that haven't been coming to the racetrack at all. Just get them included in it, like Peach and them do. Get the kids club, and start promoting more kid-friendly things. Like, get activities and stuff. I remember growing up, Peach and them used to have like a tire changing or a spark plug changing station right down there by pit gate, so you can end up seeing the drivers getting their cars ready, and you're doing pretty much the same things they are. It's a good thing and it's a bad thing. You gotta try and promote your stuff on social media. You're gonna have your fair share of people praising the track, how good it is, how good the work employees are, and then you're gonna have people bitching and complaining about the same things.
It's a double-edged sword.
Yep. And that Noah hit another one. Just try and keep it face to face. Like, keep a civil thing. I know that's gonna be hard when you're spending your hard-earned money on it. And you're gonna have your fair shares of physical altercations with it, but you just need to try and keep that out of the youth size. I know they're gonna, once they start getting older, they're gonna understand it more and more, but try and keep it as clean and kid-friendly as you can, and make the public want to come to the racetracks, no matter where you're at, even Hidden Valley, Hummingbird, or Marion Center, a bunch of your local tracks.
Wherever, I mean, there's little ears about everywhere.
Yeah,
you know.
no matter what track you go to,
Oh, yeah.
there's
I
going to
think it's
be young
important
kids.
for the hotheads to understand that we're grassroots racing here. None of us are racing for $30,000. None of us have a shot. I don't want to shoot people down. We're not doing it for that reason.
Yeah, we're doing it for the fun.
Yeah, we're doing
Right.
it for fun. We're not in this sport for money.
I've been in it for a long time. My grandfather raced. My grandfather built Hidden Valley Speedway. Him and his brother. Watched my dad. He took my dad racing for the first time. We got into it. I mean, I was born on their first Hub City race.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've been around it all my life, and like you guys said, keeping it real, keeping it PG-13. It's the best way to be.
Yes, absolutely.
Definitely want to get the kids involved if you want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if you continue to want to see grassroots racing
Yep.
in small tracks, small towns, that's where it's going to stay. With that being said, we've talked about getting kids into it. And was it last year you guys had the Cars in a Parade float?
That was
year.
this
Oh, that
year.
was this year?
That was this year, yeah.
Any upcoming plans like that this year? Or?
Well, Pellis Towing, Dustin Pellis, is who originally brought up the idea because he has a store in a shop in Hastings, Lily. He just opened a shop in Clearfield as well, and we can't thank him enough because he's come on as a sponsor, and he's helped a bunch. So we're gonna see if maybe we can make it happen again, and maybe even do it bigger and better.
Yeah, because that was awesome to see a race car in the fair parade.
We would love to get a bunch of local tracks in and have their banners on our cars. Even if we don't race at them, we
Spread the word.
Yes, just spread the word. We had a couple banners, but Dad didn't
Just
spell check
make
it.
sure you spell check the banner before you decide to
Yeah.
put it on
Jab.
the side of the tow truck.
Yeah. So, but we had a big banner that said support your local dirt tracks, and I feel like that's the major thing is, we don't have Dirt Vision or Flow here, so you can't. And as much as we hate to say it, that money is not going to the local racetrack. It's not. It's going to that provider, and I don't fault them for that. That's how they're making money. But the best way to support your local dirt track is going to them.
Yeah. I mean, get our world out to everybody else.
Something that we've done, I'd say, since we got our pure stock out is Kerwinsville Area High School always has this event every year. It's called Logs to Lumber. It's for the logging industry, agriculture, stuff of that caliber. We'll take both cars there each year and set them up, and we'll start them up here and there, rev them up. It's going to be an asshole for saying this, but it's kind of fun to see little kids plug their ears as soon as you light the car off.
Yeah, but they smile.
They do smile,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
That's why we do it.
I would encourage everybody when you have the chance. I get made fun of. I've been called a trophy queen because I take my car to car shows and stuff. But like you said, one of you said earlier, that the smile on the kid's face makes it so worth it. I care less about the trophy or the competition. It's about the kids and seeing them involved and the parents asking, where's this at? And then next thing you know, there being 5-6 extra people at the track cheering.
Like Noah said, with the Logs to Lumber event that Kerwinsville Area High School throws on, just me being at work and then getting to go up there for a half hour, getting to see the kids' face, and just getting to see them smile and enjoy the cars, and just maybe they weren't motorheads at one point, and now them getting to hear the car and getting to experience them being there in person, they're going to end up becoming a motorhead in their near future. And then you're not the only one I see on social media with putting your car in a car show, Connor. I've seen a couple other people with their dirt cars or even their street cars. Just, you got to end up putting yourself out there, getting the tracks well known. And Josh said, you guys even said it, putting our cars in a parade. Even if you don't go to that track, putting every local track banner that you can on that car would significantly increase the number of people going to there and just wanting to go experience it. No matter what their first taste is about it or not, that's just another ticket sale and another way of increasing the vulnerability of the tracks and everything.
So how's the work get divided? I mean, you're three guys working on the same car. I mean, obviously for the same reason, y'all want to race. Do you all have a specific time? You just decide you're going to meet up, or you go do your thing?
So like, throughout the off season, this is how we figure out the order. Throughout the off season, it sucks to think of it this way, but the money you spend with the work you put into the car is how you get to drive. So like the order goes, say, Noah, me, Caleb, or Caleb, me, Noah, or any other order. And all of us, we all put in a shit ton of work. I'm not trying to take credit for doing all the work or doing the least amount of work. We all put in a ton of work. So, we have a pretty good discussion every year close to the race season on what the order should be, and we all agree on it. But throughout the race season, we all normally Sunday or Monday or even Saturday night, what day do you want to work on it? It's normally a Tuesday and a Thursday, or Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or something, and we all kind of go do our thing. Like Caleb and Noah are pretty good at nut and bolting the car, and I don't want to say this meanly, but I'm a very mechanical person. So like I'm the motor guy, I'm the rear end guy, or I'm anything. I can pretty much do a little bit of everything, and so can they. But sometimes they know more than I do, or I know more than they do. So
We all got really good at banging out body panels for the last 3 years.
that's credit to all three of us.
I'm not going to deny that.
Okay, here's a question from your father. Is your dad an asshole?
Depends what you think an asshole is. Is an asshole screaming at you in the pits, or is that being dad?
I think that's tough love.
It is. That's what truthfully with dad not around, we call him an asshole a ton, and I'm sure he does the same thing to us. But that's what dads do. I think all three of us can attest to that. That we've all been screamed at in the pits. I know that for a fact. We've not screamed at, but yelled at because
Stern talking to.
yeah, because we fucked up, and I know we don't want to admit it right then and there, but we are the ones that messed up. So I think them two can attest to it. That's dad. I hate to say it. I hate to say it for spoiled little rich kids. You think I can do anything, and their dad yelling at them, and throwing their hands up, asking what are you being an asshole for. That's what dads do.
I agree with Josh on that because we've all had our fair share of fuck ups, and dads came over and
Brought you back to reality.
brought us
Yeah,
back to
yeah.
reality at some point. Whether it be something simple or something stupid that you shouldn't have done on the track, or even just us giving each other shit.
Like Josh said, it's dad, being stern with us. We've grown up with it, just being stern and letting us know when we're being an asshole, or we end up saying it behind his back that dad's an asshole because he did this, he did that. But that's just kids being kids and dad being dad. Probably me being the oldest, I've been more, I don't want to say screamed or yelled at, more sternly talked to more than the other two. I just remember, I can't remember if it was the last 2 years we had the black and green car. Me and dad have gotten into screaming matches in the pits. That's just me being bullheaded, not wanting to listen, and him giving advice, and just me not taking it into advance and seeing how it needs to be done. The way dad tries to explain it to me without being an asshole is, I was really involved with football my whole life. I've been a big sports head, and he tries to explain it to me in football terms, and he's trying to be what my coach would have been. And it all comes down to just dad wanting to see you succeed and do the best you can ever do, and anything you can do, whether it's on the track, off the track, or even me stepping up to being a father now. Like, he wants to see me become a better dad than what he was.
I'll bring a damn tear to my eye. I'm jealous because I'm a first generation racer. It was a date night that turned into an expensive hobby for me. I've never been around it, other than my wrenching comes from military stuff with aircraft and whatnot. So I have the knowledge, but the growing up around it and having the support is I know for a lot of people it's common, but it's something I'm extremely jealous of.
And truthfully, I know we talk about a bunch about our dad and our dad this and our dad that, but our dad was first generation too. Our pap was a motorhead, but he wasn't a dirt track racer. He loved his Monte Carlos, he loved his big motors, he loved his small block Chevys and whatnot. But he wasn't a dirt track racer, and once our dad started, he was like, it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. Which, I mean, I think sometimes yes it is, but there was one night in what was it, 2018, the night, it's probably the scariest night I would say of our lives, when we saw our dad get life flighted from Hummingbird Speedway. Our pap has been there for his highest highs when he got his first feature win, to his lowest lows when he got life flighted. And seeing the support around. What age were we? You were what age, Caleb? 17. I was a 15-year-old, no, not even, probably 13-year-old photographer in the infield that didn't know what was going on. All they said was they were life flighting the driver, and I had no idea. I walked down and I would see the EMT's hands wrapped around my dad's neck because they weren't sure what was going to happen. But after that, my pap finally saw how much it meant to us and how much they supported us.
And I'm not gonna say be super sentimental, but your dad's really good for the sport.
Absolutely.
So he's well spoken and he cares about everybody out there at every track. It's a wealth of knowledge. I know we've done the show with him, but even before that, I look up to him a lot.
He loves to stir the shit pot every once in a while now,
Yeah,
too.
tune in next week, by the way.
The After Dark episode coming soon.
So back to you guys racing. So, what's your best finish? We've heard about you being competitive and everything like that. Josh, we'll start with you. What's your best finish in the car, and then Noah and Caleb will just go to you.
So, my best finish is 4th, and that was the very first race of the 2023 season. I'll be the first to say I'm not great with heat races. I suck at them. I either step on my dick and spin out, or I just fall straight to the back because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if it's knocking the rust off from not being in it the last 3 weeks. But I normally start pretty close to the back. I'll be the first to admit it. And the first race of the year, it was a little rough. Dad told me just slow down, race your race, do your own thing. And I think I started 8th or 9th, I want to say, and I worked my way up to 3rd at one point and had some good battles with Wayne, Dustin, Andy Frey, and I ended up getting passed on the last lap by a nose at the flag stand by Dustin Challengeworth for 4th. So
I think by far my best finish since we've started racing was the 5th place at Hidden Valley, even after I ended up crashing out. But as far as finishes at Hummingbird go, it was our 2022 season. I ended up getting 6th, which was my first ever time getting scales ever in the car. And Caleb can attest, you'd have thought I won the feature that night after I pulled back in the pits. I have some GoPro footage of that night, and you can even tell, like, after I pulled back down in the pits that I was...
I've been there. I finished one feature race. I was in 5th, trying to make a move for 4th, almost the whole race till I spun. Go figure. I ended up finishing 9th, but it was the first race I've ever finished, and I was so excited to see this guy down there. He was probably more happy for me than I was. And it was.
Even Brad was wound up
It
about it.
was the small victories, which is setting those smaller goals, are kind of.
Dad always told us this too. We dream about winning. We dream about getting that checkered flag and cardboard trophy. But to win, you must first finish. And I feel like that's a battle most people fight nowadays. Is they just want to go out and win.
I've had people trash talk that don't race, which is kind of. I thought it was awesome. You're trash talking me. I told him, I said, you can come out and try it, man. I thought it would be easy, and I was wrong. It ain't the video games.
It's not behind you, the wheel of your street car. Yep. Totally different thing.
Oh yeah. For the longest time, rookie year, I think our rookie year, our best finish was 6th. It was our first time ever having a car on scales at the racetrack, and I held that for the longest time. And then we bumped up to 5th, and then Josh, like you said, first race out, we got 4th. And my last time out was I ended up getting 4th. I got that just by getting by Wayne Truitt off the restart of the last 2 laps. But honestly, I'd say this to everybody: Mitch Stiles, Wayne. That is by far my favorite race, the most fun I've ever had in one ever. And then that same night, heat race wise, I was battling Andy Frey and Dustin Challengeworth, and I was leading, and then missed my line, stepped on my dick, and Dustin got by me. But heat race wise, my best finish is second.
Yeah, and I tell you what, you guys racing up there, great competition. 100%.
Some of the best guys that we've seen race, from Josh Fields, Tim Stice, Dustin Challengeworth, Jimmy Challengeworth being in it for a couple years, and Mike Anderson being in it. Those are just some of the best driving guys you could see around. You throw Josh Fields in any car. Like the first night he raced his dad's car, he went out and won the freaking race.
So I said I was going to stir the pot with you guys and kind of have you call each other out, but I think I'm just going to continue down a little bit of a sentimental road we went on earlier. And
We can cross that, getting pissed off at each other towards the end.
We'll
you
cross
got-
that bridge when we get there.
What would you say for each of your brothers, so I guess you each get 2 here, would be your proudest moment for them racing? Oh, God, Josh got to say something nice.
That's an uncommon occurrence.
Hurting my heart here.
He got quiet.
For once.
So, like, retrace back to the best finish question is just seeing them two do well, no matter what what place they finish, whether they spun it out twice and got DQ'd. If they do well, I'm absolutely proud of them, because I know how much they work towards trying to do well and trying to do their best, and when it shows, it's a proud brother moment, just cheering on from the fence. So
I'm gonna side with Josh on this one here. It's like seeing these two do good. It's like you can ask people that are standing by the fence with me. I'm screaming half the time until my voice is hoarse, pretty much. But just seeing these two do good, like, it don't matter if they made scales, just as long as they finished cars in one piece and we can load it on the trailer the same way it came off. It's a proud moment for all of us, in my opinion. Like, any night that car goes home somewhat like the way it came to the track's always a good night for me, in my opinion.
I got to go back to the beginning of our 23 season. First race of the year. Track was rough, and Josh just drove the piss out of the car. The same night he finished 4th. And we were all there for that one. Then for Noah, I would have to say last year for the 22 season in the 2-day show at the Dirty Bird, Dad and Mom had to go to Josh's game he had against Bellwood Annis, and it was only me, Noah, and a couple friends. And Noah got 6th that night. Like he said, he thought he won the damn feature. And just, even though it was a light field and had some of the fastest guys in the pure stock class there, Noah May got lapped, but it was his first time making scales, and he was as happy as he could ever be. And just getting to hear the stories from, like, if I'm in the car, or getting to see these two on the fence, it's a blast. Just being there every weekend and getting to spend time with family and friends. There's just so many proud moments you can end up asking for.
100%. I agree. Don't ever lose it, definitely. I mean, I've gotten screaming match with my brother and my dad, and, even me and Brad get back and forth as well.
And
I
you
mean-
always have them moments like you have them bad nights where it's like, fuck this shit, I'm never doing this again, I'm
Yep.
done. I've had my fair share of moments with that. I think we've all had our fair share of moments with, why are we doing this? Like, there were some times like we couldn't go 3 weeks without the nose being torn off the car or just broke shit. Like, our 22 season, we struggled like hell with engine problems, and then put another engine in the car, hurt that engine, then had the first engine fixed, and then most of them issues went away after we found out what that problem was. And then we've, I would say, conquered them moments. I mean, there's been times during the 23 season we've had times it's like, why in the hell are we even doing this?
Yeah, but correct me if I'm wrong. By the time you get the car loaded back on the trailer and you're starting down the road, you're already thinking about next week.
Yeah, I've sat in my car, take the helmet off, and just kind of stare at the back of the trailer, saying, "Is this it? Is this the last time I'm doing this?" Because I can't put reason to what I'm doing.
I've had nights where it's like, I'm mad, I've kicked the side of the car, like, I'm fucking done. I sit in the truck because I'm pissed off, and then Josh, Dad, or someone will come talk to me and kind of talk me over.
We only have those real, using like a kindergarten term, those real big emotions because we love it.
Yep.
And we're holding ourselves accountable, and really striving for being the best we can be. So it's not a bad thing to have. So I guess getting ready to close out, kind of interview the interviewer here. Do you guys have any questions for us? On track, off track, podcast, future plan, whatever. I mean, you can say no. Go to hell, Connor. I don't care.
This is targeted towards both of you. Like, everyone has their well-known reason, and Justin tapped into it a little bit earlier in the episode. What was your main reasonings on targeting, like, getting into dirt racing?
So, getting into dirt racing, like I said, was from watching the joiners and stuff, because I knew I went through a depression spell, 2020, 2019-ish, where I was really down, and I was struggling to find a purpose. And it was COVID.
Yeah,
kind of
like
the
right
only
at the beginning.
The only thing going on was racing.
That's when it was big. too. It
Early
started getting
iRacing,
big.
And they got back to racing with no fans, but it was the only sport back. So I've always been kind of like a NASCAR fan. Dale Earnhardt Jr. But when that came back, I was really lost without sports. So NASCAR coming back was my first sport. And because it was the only thing to watch, I really dug into it, grabbing the radios, listening to the drivers' conversations. And that kind of became my climb out of depression, was racing. So I had a conversation with my wife about getting into it somehow. It started out throwing a post up down in Jennerstown, looking to be a spotter. And that was hard to get into. And I said, well, maybe I'll just buy some shitbox 4-cylinder and make bumblebee noises around and just something to wrench on. And my wife, God love her, she looked at me and said, "You're not doing that. You're not going out and being a fool." And I don't mean that by any disrespect to the 4-cylinder drivers. It's a huge supporting class. But she said, "You're not going out and being a fool. You're either buying a sprint car or a late model, or I'm not letting you do that."
Go big or go home.
And life has been on an uphill turn since then. I mean, financially, it's been downhill.
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're all financially
But,
unstable with these
Yeah,
cars.
I
had that
hashtag
Gary
race
Little.
car.
If you had that Gary
FRC.
Little money, he might be able to help you out.
Hey, Gary. No, but I can easily say, even though as a first generation driver, racing saved my life. And that's why my mission has been far from really winning and dumping the money into the car, as much as doing these podcasts and putting out the media and going to car shows, because it's never been about that for me. It's just been about having that thing, and racing's my thing.
You've picked up lifelong friends, man.
Yeah, and that's the other part is going into adulthood gets kind of weird and you lose friends. And
Most definitely. I'm just now getting into that. Like, I've had a bunch of high school friends, and I mean, there's still only really about one or two that I talk to, and I can consider them two of my best friends. And being around racing our whole lives, we've picked up. Yeah, they might be older than us, but honestly, you could consider a lot of these people at the racetrack. You could consider them new parts of the family.
Yeah, there's so many people out there to give you the shirt off their back.
Oh, most definitely.
They might not tell you the racing secrets.
Oh
They
no,
won't tell you your setup.
unless you're Dad.
That Jim.
Unless your dad talking in.
Yeah, he don't help me none. What the hell?
Unless you're talking with mom, and then she'll tell you straight up how it
Tell him
is.
this. Quit telling him that.
Yeah, with the way Dad is with Fuzzy, him and honestly, you would consider Dad and Fuzzy might as well be brothers. And just the way they treat each other on and off the track, pissing and moaning with each other, bitching about this or needing help with something. Stirring the shit, of course. But Mom, she tells Dad once Fuzzy started getting real quick with this new car he has, she goes, "Oh, are you done telling him your fucking secrets?"
Well, I think we've talked about it with George, and Gary told me, he said he's always trying to help me. He said it's no fun if I beat you and you're in the pits.
I want to race you.
Yeah.
And I think you and Dad had to talk about Sankey. Sankey always said, "I'll always help you until you beat me." Then.
Yeah.
And that's
We've had a couple people say that about us too. We'll help you until you beat us.
Newsflash: they're still helping.
Yeah, well, that's a given right there. But
no. I mean, I always get back to the camaraderie. When I talk about racing, is like, I don't think there's a single late model driver out there at Hidden Valley that I haven't talked to and they haven't given me some kind of advice. The problem comes when I'm trying to put 14 pieces of advice into one lap. It doesn't exactly work.
that's sometimes like, no hate to anybody, but that's sometimes a bad thing. It's like listening to too many people gets you in a predicament that
Right, but there's not a weekend that I go, oh, I got to avoid that guy. I think I have everybody's number. I think I have everybody's. I'm on a first name basis with everybody.
it's either phone number or Snapchat, depending on who you are.
You're going out the backstretch and Connor's waving you past, like, just go around me. Just go around.
It's happened. I think that was I don't know how you got behind me. Oh, you hit that mud mound. And I was like, yeah, you're going to pass me. Just go ahead. I even waved at Sam so he knew that I was letting you go. Well, then going off on a tangent. Wrapping it up, gentlemen, do you have anything you want to put out there? Obviously, you're going to shout out your sponsors and anything, everybody, blah, blah.
So, this year we lost our biggest sponsor, JR, because he had some family issues going on, in which, he's helped us he's helped Dad since just before COVID, and him and his family and his friends he's just been awesome to us. It's gonna suck to lose him, but if you see our car, you'll see a special thanks, Jared Turner, because he's done so much for our team and for this sport. Another person is Russ Clark Motorsports, Keystone Rail Recovery. Dylan, Kevin, Russ, they all have been just great guys to us because they've helped Dad with some business stuff and they've helped us with some race car stuff, and they basically said, we'll figure it out, and they've just been so well to us. John Conklin, Sierra Race Engines, he's been a great help because he'll do anything for us. He'll do anything for anybody as long as you don't get on the wrong side of him, and he'll basically say hell with you then. Ed Randig out of Millville, PA, he just came on with us a couple years ago. He's been a great help just because he goes, I love those stuff you guys do. I love how you're a family-owned team. Everything comes out of your pocket other than sponsorship, and he just loves the fact that we are a family atmosphere and appreciate everything he's done. What now? Sure, go ahead.
I mean,
I'm second.
I gotta give a huge shout out to my boss and one of our head engineers, Ryan Kirkwood and Ramey Womer of UMI Performance. They've came on board with us last year, helped us out a little bit, and they're helping us out a lot this year. I mean, other than being employed by them, I mean, it's got to be two of the best people that I know outside of the dirt racing community. I mean, Ramey's been in and out of dirt racing here, and with Trent running his car now and again. But huge shout out to them two guys. I mean, I'm employed by the one, so I don't have anything bad to say about either of them.
I think, truthfully, one of the best guys that he's had really good chassis around the sport ever since. There's always this picture floating around in breaks. It's called Badass Rebels. There's Gary Little, Denny Curry, and Dan Smeal. Kenny McLaughlin, he approached Dad a couple years ago, said, "Hey, I wanna build you a car." And truthfully, wasn't in our financial state at the time because that's like right after COVID, everybody was struggling, and Dad messaged him this year and said, "Hey, are you still interested in this? But let's make it a pure stock." So Kenny has been very outgoing with information. He's just been very good to us. He's getting started on our car now, and hopefully we'll have it in the next couple weeks. And truthfully, we don't really have a crew. We have each other. That's why we can't piss each other off, because if we piss each other off.
Like Josh says, we don't have a specific crew. In the last 3 years we've been running, I've had a select few friends. Noah's had some. Josh has had some. But some of the biggest ones we probably got to thank in the last year to give us help is probably Raven Fuller, Ben Eckelberger, even Ben Heim showing up when he can, when he doesn't have work, and Kevin Van Zant, and even Josh's future father-in-law, Dan Smeal. They will, any of them guys, they will give you the shirts off of their back, and they will make sure they do anything to, if any of us are in the car, they will make sure that we are on that track having a blast. And with it being close friends and almost family pretty much, they are some of the best guys, and they will get a hold of you in any state of mind and just see how you're doing, and couldn't thank any of them enough. And even like Peach called it a couple years ago, he called it Animals Army. We just anybody that showed up was a part of Animals Army, and we can't thank the corner of the pits that we park in. There's just so many to thank that have helped us out throughout the years. Josh is our sponsor person, so he hit that right on the head. So
Bloom Family Racing, if you're interested. I do still have some spots available.
No, but you guys kind of made your start pretty similar to when I made my start, right?
Yeah.
And the timelines kind of add up in my head right now. It's been really fun to watch. You guys, I don't mean jack to anybody, but from an outside source, I'm pretty proud of what you guys have become, and
Thank you.
And the way you carry yourself and you work together. It shows a lot, and it shows people that it's possible. It's not exactly a money man sport. You just got to have a group of people who you love to work with and you trust, and
Go out
send
there
it.
and do what you love.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Who has been your push or your idol that has pushed you into being a dirt track driver? It doesn't even have to be dirt. Who has been your idol and your push to want to be a driver?
With my situation, it was more, what do I love in this moment? Because I was lost. But who kind of pushed me to stay, and who keeps me going right now in the dirt track community is the guy to my right, Justin. I mean, whenever I'm down, he's on. Don't say it that way. Whenever I'm down, whenever I'm down, he's picking me up. Whenever I don't, I'm mechanically inclined, but these things are a different beast. With the geometry and just little ins and outs, the way things work. He's, I don't want to say holding my hand, after that last laugh, but he's really he's steering me in the right direction and making sure that I'm not astray. And there's times where like for example, I put my first new tire on the end of last year. I've been running used stuff from other people. I had no idea how to groove a tire. He literally grooved the tire for me and showed me how to do it, what each thing meant, why you would do it this way. It keeps me going. Yeah, try to top that one, big dog.
I don't know why you follow me. It's not like I'm winning a bunch of races.
Hey.
I won one. Okay,
and what happened, what'd I tell you? The guy who doesn't finish a race, I look at him, I said, keep your shit under you early. Track's going to come to you. You've got a winning car tonight.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
And he did, and I damn near cried.
What? I was cussing you out that night, though, when you spun out
You
twice.
Well, you should figure on me spinning out twice now. Answer the damn question.
Well, the last one, were you the green-white checker?
No, I was off because I watched you finish.
Oh, man.
My truck was loaded. I was there for that.
I'm telling you.
Because I was coming up, my car was loaded already. So there was a couple cautions between us, but I came up and I'm like, what lap is it? And there's a green-white checker, and I saw you were in the lead, and I was just holding my breath.
I'm telling you, I could hear my dad going, I don't care if you blow it up, just
Fucking
I'm telling
send
you,
it.
if I could have put my foot out through that floorboard, it would have went.
Oh, I said I almost felt bad following Milton down to hug you because I was so damn excited for you. That was like, I think that was the day we kind of clicked.
That was a tough night on me. But my inspiration to be a driver was my dad. My dad, my grandfather, and Ruggy, and George. Very first person I called when I got out of the car was George. He didn't answer. It was late at night, but I have the voicemail on my phone still. He called. He left me a message. It was like 10 o'clock the next day. He's like, I've called twice, but say you partied a little hard last night. Call me when you get around, But my granddad, my dad, even Brad pushes me to do the best I can. Even my brother, he's at every race. My mother, my whole family. I mean, just like you guys, it is Owen's family racing on our side. Yeah. So.
And you guys accepted me, so.
and now.
Yeah.
Owen's man.
Oh no, you don't have to throw me in there. I don't need the name. I just need to be. If I can sit in the back of the cookout and kind of smell the food, it's fine.
This is towards Connor. Like, Dad, growing up, we grew up around Sheets McGarvey, and one of the wisest quotes I've ever heard Dad say is from Sheets: "If you aren't gonna win the race, at least do something spectacular." And from the amount of stories you've told us tonight, you've always done something fucking spectacular to get remembered by.
Until the end of this year, when it really started to bother me. But if I could go out and make 3 laps, I was happy with 3 laps, because I set the goal for me. I set the goal at the beginning of every season is pretty much have fun. Oh, yeah. This year was finish 5th in points. Financially, that just wasn't feasible this year. But next year it's not going to be any different. We're starting to build up our program and kind of understand some things some more, get some more assets in the shop. But it doesn't matter. None of it's going to change my life. That's not why I do it. I do it for the 2 a.m. conversations, the beer in hand in the pits, the kids smiling, and just the camaraderie. Otherwise, money means nothing to me.
And I think a lot of people in this sport get away from that. Like, they start winning races, spending boatloads of money just to be fast, and then they start getting away from, like, yeah.
It's 3 syllables now. Camaraderie. It might be more than 3. I don't know. He can't count. He's been drinking Twisted Tea.
I went to Kerwinsville, so. But I think a lot of big teams, like, I want to call them big local teams, have kind of walked away from that. It's like they're more worried about, winning races, bringing money home. And
I've watched people shred $300 tires and do $2,000 in body damage to win $500.
I feel like I don't think supers are the worst class for. I don't want to say like ungrateful, but the most ungrateful class right now I feel is the Penn Ohio Pro Stock class. They're spending late model money expecting to win, expecting to get a late model purse, and then they know the purse when they build a race car. Yet they continue to bitch about a $500 pay.
Right. $500 for a pro stock, when you compare it to what everybody else is making, that's pretty good.
Yeah. You compare it to like just hypothetically, like even the 4-cylinder purse or even the pure stock purse, we're winning what, $300 for the pure stocks?
$225. And I'm not hating on tracks for that or anything, because truthfully, if I won $40 at the end of the night, hell, I'll pit pass 30 guys.
And that's even money to just go right back into your gas tank.
And I try to explain this to people when they like, well, what do you mean? It costs you $15 a race. I said, yeah, you go out to the bar, you go out and have a steak dinner on Saturday night.
That's 20. Or
You
more.
guys spend $120, and then how much fun did you have really when you come back the next day?
Mhm. And like
Well,
I don't.
the headache.
Yeah.
I had those after the night at the track. But
Like I said, I don't want to say they're ungrateful, but they know the purse. They know the purse, and they know what they're gonna make at the end of the night when they decide to spend $40,000 on a Pano High Pro Stock.
I think when you have these cars, you're going, well, I'm not building a car this year because the money's not enough. Well, all you're doing is hurting it.
Yep.
If your car count's lower,
You're just hurting the class in general.
it's going to go down.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, I would like to think that was common sense.
Mhm.
I was an honor roll, but well, boys, to men, squeeze that one in there for you. It's been a privilege.
Absolutely.
It's been fun. Much like your dad, we could probably do this all night.
Oh, most definitely.
Yep.
I know a lot of people don't have 5-hour commutes. So, good luck next year.
Thank you.
All right, back at you guys.
Stay safe. Most importantly, have fun.
That's our goal in the sport is just to have fun and just go out and just race.
Yeah. Do what you love.
Absolutely.